is money.
It's nothing.
Ballin', ballin'. Premium or nothing.
When them or nothing.
Now you know.
Now you know.
Now you know.
Now you know.
Welcome back to Couch Chronicles.
Hey.
We're back. It's been a while. I've missed you guys on the couch. I've missed our viewers. Hey guys, our listeners. We have our lovely guest here, but first we're going to go through some mindfulness tips.
Good deal.
Everyone get themselves into their mindfulness position. Back is straight but not rigid. Your feet are planted on the ground in a way that makes you feel solid, comfortable, yet alert. We're going to start by taking 2 cleansing breaths. The first inhale, make sure it's deep, and on the exhale, be very slow. And let's begin. For that second inhale, try to go deeper and expand your chest and stomach a bit more. Let's begin. For our mindfulness practice for today, I'd like you to think about a color that represents how you are feeling in this moment. I want you to think about how bright or how dull that color is. I want you to notice how inviting or rejecting that color feels. I'd like you to breathe in and embrace this color. Be open to this color that represents how you are feeling. I'd like you to sit with this color. Maybe you can create something that's pleasing to look at using this color. And I want you to hold this color close, because in the next moment, the next few hours, this color will change to something else. Another feeling, another experience. One that might be inviting, one that might be rejecting, one that might be really loud, and one that might be really quiet. But for this moment, you and this color, you and this feeling are here together. I would like you to consider what this color, what this feeling might be telling you about this moment or about yourself. Just take a nice deep breath in and release. If you feel comfortable to do so, go ahead and open your eyes. Okay. All right then. So, what did you guys notice about yourself?
I noticed that it's been a while since we sat here and appreciate the break that we had. So I like to say the break was good. So that thought came to mind in the beginning. I also, when you say pick the color automatically, I was like, yellow. It's my favorite color and I'm feeling bright. So, and I think the prompt and the feeling that I was experiencing, I think is just joyful gratitude throughout. My mind did go away for a little bit, just got distracted. I couldn't tell you where, but I noticed that I wasn't, like I heard your voice, but I wasn't present with it. So I used your voice to anchor myself back. And then after that, I kind of followed straight through. I noticed the urge to itch my scalp. So I was about to put my hand up. I said, oh, okay, let me just sit back. So I didn't respond to the urge, but kind of went right back to it. Yeah.
So feeling a vibrancy with that color yellow, that's something that is familiar to you, saying that it's something that's your favorite. And so was that color of, was really bright is what you said, like something, what would you say is an object or something that would be close to that color?
That chair you sitting on.
Yeah, the chair. Okay. So very, very bright and in your face. Yeah. And when I was telling you to like hold it and to embrace it, is that something that you felt like you were
I was
willing
smiling.
to do?
Yeah, I feel like there was a sensation of my cheeks rising. So I can tell you, but I sensed I was like smiling when I noticed that. So yeah.
Nice. And you were able to just be open and non-judgmental around the fact that, hey, like I can kind of see that I wandered somewhere. I can't really hear Steph's voice, but you know what? I'm going to bring myself back.
Yeah. Went right back to it. Didn't really think much of it. Thank you. Oh, and I think I might have fell asleep a little bit. Just 5 seconds.
So you were into it. Some things that I noticed about myself, I definitely kind of noticed my mind going in and out of the practice. Like some moments I was really anchored to your voice. Other moments I was kind of just having thoughts about my color and like what that meant. And also being curious about like why that was the color that came up. But yeah, my color was pink. I've been wearing a lot of pink recently. I've been like feeling pink. It's like a very warm color to me. So that kind of brought like a feeling of warmth over me, and I felt good, grounded by that.
Nice. And so when you kind of noticed that color immediately kind of show up, and that be something that's already been connected to like your wardrobe and your things like that, I would, I guess, assume there was more of an inviting experience versus a rejecting one.
Definitely welcome. There was one point where you asked us to like think about like the vibrancy of the color or like the brightness, and I kind of went like from a gradient of like light pink to like a really fuchsia pink. I'm like, I just like them all.
All the shades of pink.
Right. So you're just able to like sit with that kind of like steady stream that's back and forth with yourself.
And knowing that they all kind of felt warm to me, but definitely like the hotter pink colors feel like the most warm, like summertime.
Yes. Okay. That makes my mind think of different things, but I'll
Done.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I am well.
How was your mindfulness practice?
It was great. Similar to Tyler, my color was fuchsia.
Yeah. Okay,
Like
twin.
a bright, hot pink. I think similar to like my lipstick color today. Right? So, it's bold. It's vibrant. It's confident.
It's the energy you bring in.
That's how you feel good.
Right.
Okay.
Hey.
Yes.
I'm trying to embrace this age. I think it's different.
It's fine.
I
It's
think
fine
it's
wine.
like a rebirth of some sort. So that's
like
where
that.
I'm at.
Fresh
Good deal.
start.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yes, I
Good
love
deal.
that.
Good deal.
So as you were kind of just reflecting on that color, what it means to you, what it represents, it seems like it was welcoming to you. It seems like you were really able to kind of stick with the experience. Did you notice your mind wandering to other things, or did you feel like you were pretty grounded here?
I thought I was pretty present.
Yeah.
I mean,
deal.
there was even like a little shimmy going on.
He was really feeling it.
Yeah, shimmy. You know?
Right.
I love that. Well, I'm glad that you guys, were able to have colors that were bright, that were vibrant, that represent each and
That's the energy we're bringing.
I
Yeah.
love that for our restart, rebirth of our episodes.
I agree.
You, what'd you see?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I just saw the next direction. Like I was very much like, all right, what's the next thing that I'm about to say? Most of my mindfulness is be on the fly, on the raw.
Do you feel like you were present with it?
I was very present, and I did notice like my body. I did notice that my mind had a very clear image of like what was coming next, and maybe more of like what I was hoping for you guys to experience. I did notice that my sense of hearing was really tapped in because I noticed like different like sounds in the environment, different movements, and curiosity around like, how that connected to your level of like participation in the exercise and stuff. So that's kind of where I was at. But honestly, I felt pretty light, pretty open. Not really like any excitable energy, but a nice balance and a solid like, feel good and excited to be here with you guys.
Good deal. Same. Yeah. This is great.
As you said, we have a guest.
We do.
Miss Myrja Paul.
Yeah.
Horrible bio, but I also want you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're gonna add.
Is a licensed clinical therapist and owner of Soul Counseling and Consulting, mental health practice.
Best practice.
In Burtonsville, Maryland. If you need a therapist,
hit it up. Okay.
Myrja's mission is to decrease the stigma of mental health, particularly in community of color, and create mental health practices that feel safe and supportive. Myrja's goal is to help clients feel empowered to live, not merely exist. Myrja also considers herself a recovering anxious attacher, which is going to be important for our conversation today, and is in the process of writing a book about her experiences with dating with an anxious attachment style, coupled with being a therapist. The T.
Yeah. I learned this weekend. I didn't know what this meant. You learned it too, Clocky, like dropping gin.
Right.
I was talking to somebody and she kept going like this. And I said, why is she doing this, Lord? I said, what is this? Girl, I started doing that. I started doing this too now. See, now they're making fun of us. This thing with senior citizens out here. Disrespectful. I'm a good looking auntie, okay?
So we have a guest.
Yes, we're back to it.
So tell us about yourself. We are obviously very familiar with her.
Right. And we'll say why we're familiar with it. Because the couch was first being filmed where?
Right.
At the
Soul.
Yes. So Myrja is a huge fan and a supporter of this podcast.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you.
We do.
I
For
appreciate
supporting
y'all.
us. Yes.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah.
This is not my wheelhouse.
It needs to
I'm
be.
a talker.
Expertise.
I'm a
Exactly.
talker.
Yeah.
But this is not my wheelhouse. So I appreciate the invite. This subject is quite personal for me.
Too many of us.
So I appreciate the topic that we're discussing today. More about me.
You're a good time.
Yes.
I try to. Oh, you're so sweet.
You are a good time. Like, I mean, the therapist stuff is nice, but
Yeah, that's nice. Okay,
Yes.
so I like to box.
Yes. You do.
That's where I get my anxious energy out.
perfect.
Um,
And you like rap?
I like a good hip
Old school. Old school to the core.
Auntie, I went to see Jodeci last night.
You did.
Great
Yeah.
time. I was getting my life. I love music. I love being outside.
You better
I love
big up the culture.
beach.
Where you from?
My parents are from the lovely little island of Haiti.
That's what I'm saying.
And so I'm an island girl at heart.
Yes, we is.
Sun
We-
and brightness
Yeah.
and water.
That's actually where you belong.
That's
Yeah.
that's
your
where
safe
That
space.
is where I belong.
I feel
Yeah,
that.
so-
I feel that.
Yeah. Happy
Good deal.
to be here with y'all.
Well, we're
Thank you.
excited to
Welcome
have
the
you.
couch.
It's about time, but it's a good time. You say you like the couch?
Okay,
All right,
so let's
sick.
get into it. One thing I've noticed about anxious attachment that I don't see talked about enough is how it can create a sense of closeness without real intimacy. It can look like someone wanting to be close enough to live under their microscope, tracking where you are, how you spend your time, even analyzing every flicker of your facial expression, but never actually seeing you. They'll say they want deep connection, but it often feels like they're already decided who you are and they're looking for confirmation. Anything that contradicts their perception gets ignored or dismissed. You can share your deepest vulnerabilities, but there's no guarantee that they'll land. At best, they go in one ear or the other. At worst, they're invalidated. I've also seen people express that being in a relationship with someone anxiously attached can feel like being cast in a role, one that's less about who you are and more about what they need you to be.
Is this, just so I clear, is this from a perspective of someone who experienced being with an anxious attachment person? Okay, cool. I just want to make
makes
sure.
a lot of sense, though.
Yeah.
It feels very blamey, feels very judgmental.
Sure.
Ooh.
And there's also a little bit of a misunderstanding. I mean, saying that like they don't really give you a chance to, I guess, defend against their already image.
Yeah.
That seems like it's coming from somebody who's been burnt by that or often felt
They sound like an avoidant attachment.
I mean, like, yes, avoidant
sounds like-
attachment. It also seems like somebody who's constantly tried to prove themselves
Yeah.
to this person and it has not been enough or they feel exhausted by it.
Yeah, and sometimes that can be anxious attachment as well.
That's what I was about to say. It could be also someone who's also
Their own.
Anxiously attached. Okay, so that's what we're talking about today, right? So
But I'm glad you put up that perspective.
Yeah.
I don't think we hear the other side. I think
Right.
we always hear from the anxious attacher
Yes.
and not the attachee.
Yes.
So I think it's a good perspective to think about.
I liked that. I like
Yeah.
that. What is anxious attachment exactly?
You want me to take it?
But yeah, it don't matter to me.
So, anxiously attachment relates to attachment styles. It's how us as human beings feel close, feel like we belong, feel like other people love and care about us. So if you have an anxious attachment style, your internal system often gets overloaded and overstimulated very easily at the perceived rejection or abandonment or pretty much destruction of a relationship or anything around you that you feel like is important to you. So there's this constant need to seek closeness, constant need to be reassured and validated and for everyone around them to make them feel as if they have a purpose or at least to help them feel less overloaded. That's pretty much what
Overloaded
it
and
is.
desired and
Exactly.
like
Because
they're also giving into you, like what they're doing is sufficient enough and you happy with them.
Yeah, because there is a certain core belief that either they are unlovable or that they are inadequate in some shape
Or not enough.
or exactly. So there's some type of thing within them that's driving them to feel this way that came from an early wound from usually childhood that just kind of festered or like a split end just continued to kind of like rip up the seams.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, one don't experience it. They may live their life that way, but it may not come to the forefront. Mostly it comes out when they are in a romantic relationship. They may not even notice they may not even notice the pattern through friendship, but it's probably not until that hard relationship really hit them, they realize, oh, like there might have been a rupture. There's something, there's like an attached to it. And another thing I want to add to someone with an anxious attachment style is that even if the relationship end or the friendship end, they still have a strong title connection to it to try to process what did they do wrong, what happened, how can they fix it. So that's something like it's so draining to their system.
Yes.
And that's what the anxious part.
But also part of the reason why that is one of the mechanisms of an anxiously attached system is this kind of activating strategy, right? Is that, but they don't realize that that's
exactly.
That like after something has ended, continuing to think about it keeps that person alive.
And the activating
Your
state.
system cannot tell the difference between, this has ended and, I just need to keep doing something in order to like keep it in my life, in my psyche.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And thinking about that more from like our perspective as therapists, I think that is easy for us to see.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about how that maybe shows up in real life, like outside of our textbooks? What are some things that we maybe see from people or maybe in our own experiences of being anxiously attached?
like if you have a friend who constantly said, hey, why didn't you call me when you get in, or feel like left out when they might have seen you out with everybody? How come you didn't invite me? So,
Okay, so the friend that doesn't want you to have any other friends.
exactly.
That's one of it.
That's one of it.
Yeah.
And another way that could show up also is that
The group chat police, the one that checks to see how often this person responded, how often this person
Yes.
didn't respond. They're constantly inviting people out and like always wanting to keep in contact, not only because they obviously love and care for their friends, but it's also to ensure you still love me, you still care about me, you still want to be around me, I'm still important to you.
someone who want to keep tabs on you too.
Ooh.
You'll
Where
keep
you
tabs
at?
on you. Where you at? And this on socials, or they already.
in today's society.
I call it the PI work. If you have a friend who been doing the PI work,
But no, that's one.
okay,
That's
the PI work.
share your location, but
But
then you
you're
get a
doing
text
some-
message,
yeah.
"Hey, you over in this place?"
Yes, the
Oh, wait, are
investigate.
you at that man's house that
Right.
you said you weren't supposed to be at?
They already know where you live. They already know the stats about you, social security number.
Oh,
Dang.
You know,
Or
and-
get
text
up.
you.
Yeah.
So they didn't text me back, but I saw you on Instagram.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Or get very jealous with other friends.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't like you being with that person. And when you are with that person, I'm going to be withdraw. I'm going to give you the silent treatment. I'm going to do these other things.
Yeah. I think
And with
that
a
can
parental, they might want to be like, "Oh, this person is your favorite." They get trapped in the comparison.
Perhaps.
Yeah,
Perhaps. I also think that maybe sometimes anxious attachment can look like holding on to relationships past
that
their
doesn't serve you.
expiration date.
Sure,
Like just
that is.
for the sake of like I'm with someone.
Yeah,
But I think that goes back to that confessional.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because like there's some sort of closeness that's maybe not necessarily genuine
Yeah.
or filling that role.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think when you have an anxious attachment style, it's like, it is kind of like you're checking these boxes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? Like, okay, I met this person. They seem to check the boxes. And like the confessional said, it was like, it doesn't even matter what they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that part.
Yes.
Because in my
Yeah.
mind, I'm so hooked on this person is feeling me.
Yeah.
This is
Or
a
this is
good-
what I want it to be.
This is what I
Yeah.
want it to
Potential.
be
Yeah.
on paper.
Yep.
Right? That's all these things on
Yes.
paper, but like in real life, they may not be the one for you, but it's
Yeah.
like, this person is paying me attention.
Attention.
And
Yeah.
That's what I'm like holding
Yeah,
on
me
to.
too.
So
Yeah.
I don't want to mess up this
Let me
fantasy,
see.
or
Yep.
this vision of like
Yeah.
what it's supposed to be.
And I think at like a very basic level, it is about like meeting a specific need that
Yep.
likely wasn't met during your upbringing, right?
Yeah.
So, like, just fulfilling this like feeling of like I am enough, I am desired, I'm loved and wanted can kind of lead you to it can lead you astray when that's the top priority.
Yeah.
But the wonderful thing about an anxious attacher is the fact that they're super intuitive.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're so in tune with you.
Yes.
They study you. They know what makes you happy. They know how to show up for you. They're that loyal friend or that dependable person that's willing to drop because they're about pleasing you.
Yeah.
They know your emotion before you even figure out what it is because they're very energy based. So that's their superpower.
Yeah.
In that
That's
sense.
the part, right, where the person who's the attachee is holding on to.
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
'Cause it
oh my
feels
gosh,
good.
like
Yeah.
this person
Yeah.
knew that I got off late and they brought me dinner. And
Yep.
This person knows that my dog was sick and they asked about the dog. You know what I mean? So for the attachee,
Yeah. Yeah.
The person, the anxiously attached person,
Thank
attached
you.
to.
Yeah.
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 you know, it feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so on the opposite end, if I'm the anxious person, I'm like, oh, they like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
purpose in their life.
I have
Yes.
I'm
purpose.
important to them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
sometimes that liking can get misconstrued. It's like,
Yeah.
they're just a nice person.
Right.
It doesn't mean they want to marry.
Yeah.
And that is also, it's sometimes the overgeneralization of certain cues of the other person. Right? I don't know. Have you guys been following this thing on TikTok?
Oh,
about
God.
What?
there's
The lady
a
that fell in love with her psychiatrist.
yes.
Oh, no.
Or
Oh,
was
shit.
convinced that the psychiatrist was in love with
Yeah, I was
her.
manipulating her or something to fall in love with
Oh
him or something
no,
like
you gotta
that.
send me that.
Right.
No.
So that is an example of somebody who is on the extreme end of,
Of the
being anxiously
anxious
attached. Right. They look and find minuscule at times
Yes.
things in order to confirm that like.
Yeah.
Right. And for sometimes the other person, like the psychiatrist, is very like
I'm not doing anything.
Not even
Right.
like they're aloof. They don't know that this
Right.
is
They're just being nice.
happening.
Oh, you look nice today. Just that.
Right,
Oh, you look nice
exactly.
today. Be like, oh, he noticed.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
That thing.
Every
Yeah.
single Monday, he
Yeah.
always says this. He always brings me coffee. She
Yeah.
always smiles at me, like all. Because I think there's also a misconception that people who are anxiously attached only are women.
Right.
That is not the truth.
Nope.
There are
On a
lot
higher
of,
end.
Yes, there's a lot
It's
of
the
men.
men.
Yes,
I think
The
that
women
maybe
are more on the avoidance
aware
side
of
than they're on the anxious part.
especially now with the
Yeah.
shift of the generation and how like
Yeah.
women are being kind of taught to be a bit more self-preserving.
Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
kind of not always trust that a man will be able to protect you,
Yeah.
to take care of you. That is now creating I guess an inverse response from men where they now feel this sense of like inferiority. I need to prove that you're there for me. I need to prove that you need to, as the woman, assure me that I'm a good caretaker.
Yeah.
That I'm a good lover.
Yeah.
That you won't, don't find any other men attractive other than me, right? That I am following through on what the patriarchy told
Sure.
me that I should be doing as a man.
Yeah.
And a lot of times women will see that as like, oh, like, he's just jealous, or oh, who my man puts me in my place, or my man,
My man.
what's it called? Play about me, or like all those other things. Like there's, right, and it feels great. It feels empowering. Like yeah, like he doesn't play about me, but then there's this possessiveness and jealousy that can turn very dangerous.
Yeah.
And that often is usually what then leads to the line of domestic violence and a lot of physical abuse and things like that. With men being the perpetrator, is they tend to be anxiously attached. Their fear of losing you and then diminishing my character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as a recovering anxious attacher as well, I think that it showed up for me often like just being the person in the relationship that the other person wanted me to be, and not always being authentic to myself.
Yeah.
And
Talk a
I
little bit
had to
more
kinda
about that.
Yeah. So it would be like, I can find interest with anybody. I think that was like my superpower in some ways.
Yeah.
That I realized after like therapy and doing my own work that like perhaps that is more of like a anxious attachment coping thing.
Yep, a coping
like
mechanism,
where I'm
yeah.
like, oh, let me find the thing that we can connect on so that you feel connected to me, but also I feel secure in this relationship because I know that there's some sort of like commonality. So
But the commonality, is that a genuine commonality?
I think there are things that I genuinely liked,
Okay.
but maybe wasn't necessarily prioritizing them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, like maybe I like this certain thing a little bit more because I'm with this person who also likes it.
It's like, oh, I like to go to the gym, but now I became a gym girly.
Right.
Because
The person
my
I'm with,
person that I'm
yeah.
with likes to go to the
the
gym.
gym.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing all the meal preps, and now I'm doing all these things to
Yeah.
now secure a place.
And
so
it
like
feels like a deep, genuine chemistry.
Yeah,
like
it
we're
does.
so passionate and connected,
Yeah.
but it's not sustainable. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, first year, like we're locked in, we're BFFs. Second year, we're like, okay, it's cool in the home.
Right.
Then it kind of starts to unravel as people take the mask off, or as like maybe I take my mask off and begin to kind of show up as my more authentic self. I've experienced like partners that felt like they were surprised, like you switched up, and me not even necessarily knowing that I was doing that.
Yeah.
That you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to call myself like a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
I can move in
Uh-huh.
different
Yeah.
chameleon.
Yeah. It is, yeah. And anxious
But
that when
I
you get to that
think
phase.
as therapists, that's what I think makes it even more difficult.
Yeah.
Because we are so used to,
You're required to for the job.
we are literally trained,
Yeah.
right? And not only are we
Turn it
trained,
off.
but most of us as therapists already have something in us, which is why we became a therapist in the first place. So not only are we like professionally trained, but then it's already like embedded
Right.
in our personality to
trait.
make others
Like a predisposed.
feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think for me in dating relationships or even friendships, right? It was very much like, oh my gosh, like we had such a connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we talked and talked
Yeah.
for hours, and like you read these romance novels and you watch these movies and you're like, oh my gosh,
This
like,
is
that's how
it.
it happened,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like you're at the bar chilling and all of a sudden you have a 2-hour conversation. Like this is like
Right.
the
The
thing.
thing. Uh-huh,
And then it's just like, for me, I had to realize, girl, you're comfortable with everybody.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
you are literally the comforter.
Not the comfort.
Yeah.
Make people feel warm and cozy.
Yeah.
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 It's your energy. People
Yeah.
are drawn to you.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to realize that, like, this is not a genuine connection.
Yeah.
Similar to what you were saying about that lady and the psychiatrist, right? Where it's like, I thought that this person genuinely was connected to me and we had something special. And it's like, no, you're just nice and easy to talk to.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
a therapist. So of course I'm
Easy to talk to.
talk to, right?
Yeah, I think in my anxious stage, I think it showed. I realized that more because I'm on the disorganized stuff because I could be avoidant. But
Sure.
I think it showed up more for me in my friendships. I think that I created my friends as my family. So I did come from a good family. So I'm not saying I didn't, but there's something about, you know, feeling like people get you or they come to you and you're that person. Exactly. And you chose them. So when there started to be a rupture in that, there was a need for me to keep friendships that also were not healthy for me.
Yeah.
That were, you know, they were talking about me. They were being hurtful, but I still find a reason to kind of forgive or have a conversation or wanting to understand, like, why are you upset? Like, what did I do? Like, why didn't you come talk to me? Like things like that. So I think my anxious attachment style showed more around holding on to friendships that no longer serve me and realizing that, you know, I became a vessel for everyone, but I also wasn't myself. And the minute I showed myself, everybody had a problem with it. And I was being judged, but I was being judged behind my back and not to my face. So
Which
that
brings up more anxiety, right? Because
Thank
you
you.
feel that energy.
Yeah.
And I think that is what you were talking about earlier. About how there's some like, it's people that experience anxious attachment or just anxiety in general have pattern recognition. And so being really tuned into like small shifts or your facial expression is different. It's very much activating like, well, what does that mean about me? Like, people that experience
having like flashbacks.
Right. I think that people that have anxious attachment really like take a lot of ownership of things that are not there.
That are not
Take
exactly
a lot of responsibility for the relationship.
Exactly.
And
how
then
to make it
grow
work.
resentful. Sorry, I'm not anxiously attached at all.
We know, Chad. We know.
I
We know
avoidant,
shit.
right?
I am very avoidantly attached. So hearing you guys, right? It's really like hitting me one after the face because I'm just like, I've been on the
Receiving end
of that.
Yeah.
Of like subtle changes in myself would immediately cause alarm. And I would be like, this has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It's not, and our relationship isn't under any kind of like bad, like, so there's no threat here. Like there's no crisis here, but you're turning up and then now you also are wanting to talk about it. That's another thing with an anxiously attached person. They want to talk. They want to talk.
They will chase you down.
And I'm like, bro, I already don't want to talk because like, I already don't want to talk because my internal system is now wanting to
activate it.
Yes. Want to get closer. So there's already a tug of war here.
Yeah.
But now you want to keep bringing it up and keep bringing it up, which is making me less and less and less excited to be in this space.
It makes me
way more, what's it called?
And that's like the confirmation bias, right? Like I'm showing up in this way that is perhaps like pushing my partner away, but I'm also confirming like, see, I knew something was up.
Can we break that down just a little bit more? I just feel like that example right there happens so often.
Yes.
And I don't know if you have like a good example, like a real life example to give, but I think it'd be helpful just to give an example of like,
you have one.
Trust me.
Yeah.
So are we referring to the like, if something subtle in me shifts, that increases?
Yeah.
So I'm someone who we could talk about like has a roller coaster of how I experience just like my moods or just like my shifts in general. Sometimes I experience, depression where I'll be depressed and just feel
like regular seasonal depression
or
and
burnout and things like that just will happen as well too. And so I was with a partner who was anxiously attached. And so when I would go into these depressive episodes and these shifts, they would feel a disorientation. Like it felt like their life is different because me being this person who's usually very like,
you bring the energy.
I'm very giddy and very, I'm cool, calm, collected. I'm, the person that's very, empathetic and supportive, all of these things. And when I'm depressed, I'm more reserved. I'm to myself. There's definitely, I would say, a darker moment. It feels like the light. Right? That's the way that I would coin it. So when that would happen, they would freak out. Like it would be this thing of like, what do you need from me? How do I help you better? And like, should you do this? Have you thought about this? Have you done this? And I was just literally, mind you, when you're depressed, you have no energy.
Right.
I don't give a shit, actually.
You have like your concept of time and your concept of effort and all these other things is just not there. So you're having this person, like think about it like if you're asleep and it's dark and somebody just keeps putting the flashlight in your face.
Yes.
It's like, oh my fucking God. Like, can you please just leave me, like let me to rest. But it's also
that
me.
feels like a rejection.
Yes, but it also me wanting to take care of like their feelings. So I would like push myself or I would try to like not be as like depressed. Right. And so, which would confirm my avoidant thing of like, people can't handle when you're in a certain space anyway. So you have to show up in this way. This exactly how to be this person. So it would be this push and pull of like, well, what do you, I'm like, I don't need you to do anything except for just be here with me during the experience. And that was very, very difficult because just being means you're sitting on your hands. And for someone who's anxiously attached, you need to always do.
We have to do something.
There has to be something tangible that they need to, and they also need to see that something changed or shifted in order to confirm that like they did a good job or they did well. So mind you, depression is something for those people who deal with it on a cycling basis. It just has to run its course. Like, there are just certain, it just has to get to the end. So me being like, I can't rush this any faster than what it is coming out for me. I don't know what to tell you. Like in this moment, like maybe I shouldn't be around you when I'm depressed. That was my solution.
Which feels like a rejection.
And immediately it was like, so you don't want to be around? And I was just like, oh my God. Like, I'm just trying to like
figure this out.
Your discomfort also help me
take care of yourself
through the whole
But that insecurity, right, of you not wanting to be around me, not just around anybody, right? You know how people say like, it's not you, I don't want to be around anybody. As an anxious attacher, it's like, but it's
me.
Right.
Yeah.
So you should want to be around me. And then what does that say about me?
Yeah.
Right.
That even in your darkest moment, you don't want to be around me. So it's all of this internal.
Like overplaying your role.
But it's also a scene that is playing because, mind you, you're negating your own discomfort. My question was making you uncomfortable. And instead of just acknowledging that, yes, it made me feel this, like just makes me feel some type of way and I don't need to do anything about it. I just need to acknowledge it makes you feel. And then maybe a bit of space might be helpful, not because I'm the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Because this
experience.
But here's the thing, right? The wonderful thing about attachment style is the fact that if majority of us grew up secure, then the insecurity part wouldn't happen. So if I wasn't affirmed as a child and made to feel enough, or if I was made to feel like, hey, my emotions are not too big, they're acceptable, then my body chemistry wouldn't have to adjust to, hey, my partner says she needs time because she's feeling depressed. Okay, cool. What do you need from me? It'll go from that question instead of, well, what happened? What did I do? And so forth and so on. So we have to, so we also have to look at the fact that, we didn't grow up creating this way. And that's why I'm harsher on parents or people who, want to go into this parental or caregiver role because you don't know how you can impact a child's security with the things that you say. And that's where the generational, because when you know better, you do better. So you were treated this when you were taught this was the way to kind of speak and engage with a child. So then you teach it the same way. So now a child is left to always feel like, in order for me to be enough, I have to perform. The thing with an anxious attacher is that we're performers. We will perform to feel seen, to feel like, hey, I am worthy, I am wanted. But if I didn't have to perform, I could have just been myself. Because we were talking about it this morning where you were like, you and I would do our happy dance when we like got food.
It was getting shame. Like, stop all that dancing while you eat.
When you're a child.
Experience joy.
Exactly. Right. So now you had to unlearn, like, you know what? Fuck that. It's okay for me to dance actually when I'm. So those are these things that we have to be mindful. Even like if you're a friend and you notice like, hey, this is happening to you. Was it anxious? It's simply saying like, we're good.
Yeah.
I want you to know we're good.
That's a good
I'm
example,
here.
though, because especially I think in Black households.
Yep. And that's why I want to talk about
households,
that's where I was headed to.
I mean, it's all the
all of it. Diaspora, period.
When you think about like, I'm actually not allowed to be extra.
Right.
And extra, I'm saying extra in quotes because like who decides what's extra? Right.
That part.
Because you can't dance at the table.
Right.
You can't, be too loud.
Right.
In anywhere.
Can't
right.
be talking.
Don't challenge
You can't
older.
Don't ask too many questions.
Yeah.
All of these things that like keep dimming you down. And so when you do become an adult, it's like, oh, I'm too much.
Yep.
Then I need to kind of reel it back because nobody wants all of my energy.
Yep.
Right? But I think I'm glad that you brought it right back to the childhood piece because I know Stephanie at the beginning talked about like where it comes from, that it comes from, our childhood and from our caregivers. But I just think it's important to like reiterate
that this person didn't just come off that way.
Yeah, and they didn't choose that. Sometimes that also happens just like having a disruption in your attachment. So like trauma, being removed from your home, like that. But I like that you brought that point up just because it's a reminder that it's not necessarily something that is like, oh, I'm cured of this. It is more so like an ongoing acceptance of like, okay, I'm having this urge. How can I choose to interact differently?
Exactly.
So I'll give an example of how that shows up for me. I definitely like pick up just energy quite easily. And so I'll notice like changes in facial expression with my partner. And I've gotten more into the habit of like, even when I have the urge of like, oh, something is wrong, reminding myself to like be curious rather than assuming that it's about me.
Exactly.
So I'll ask,
that's
like,
huge.
And I'll describe, like, I'll ask, like, oh, I noticed that this thing happened. What's going on? Yeah. Like, trying to assign the responsibility back to my partner. Like, this is actually not my thing. And
that's also how you regulate. It's literally disconnecting yourself from experiences that are not yours.
So that helps me to like, I mean, sometimes it is about me, sometimes it's not, right? But I'm not starting with assuming that all the things are about me, and it just leaves more room for like curiosity. Also leaves more room for the other person's feelings and emotions. Like that part, trying to manage me.
That part.
You don't have to like steal the hit about you. I think what you were saying, right, with the depression piece, right? It's like right. Like I'm the one going through something,
right?
And now I
think that's why you guys low key get the bad rep of like y'all are self-centered.
Right.
Like damn, like this is something literally in my lane. With my anatomy. And you come like trying to jump into light a fire, and it's like
make it about you.
So I've given this example before in they do it because I was calling. I remember feeling like, oh, I am secure in myself. And I am secure in like who I am and what I'm doing. And then I got married. And I married someone who's a secure attachment. Like my husband is very secure in who he is in like conflicts or whatever. And we would get into, I think, our first disagreement, and he would leave the house to get air. Ooh. And I'm like, oh.
With no warning?
With no warning, no nothing, right? So reminding you that my anxious style didn't even show up, but I remember having felt like that in a long time. And I remember thinking like, did he just leave? What does that even mean? Does he even want to be here? And I remember Like, and then we got another, and he did the same thing. I said, so what is up with this leaving thing? Do you not want, and he was like, I need air. Sometimes I can't talk right now. My mind started going like, oh, he don't want to be married to this. And he don't want to even do this. And I remember saying to him like, and then we, there's some stuff that we had to kind of get over. And I remember thinking to myself like, oh, my marriage is over. It's about to be done. And then this is part of being with someone who's in a secure attachment. Yeah. He's like, I'm not going anywhere. I made a commitment to you. And I remember him having to repeat that a couple times for my system to feel settled. Yeah. Because my system would get activated by the door closing. Or if we argue, and even though he was like, I'm just going to go play tennis. Yeah. Even he was already playing before the argument, but if an argument happened and he leaves the house, so then I'm like, okay, girl, like,
calm down.
That's
self-soothe, right? Like, to regulate yourself. I think that is a great example as well around like, it's not that like, oh, I've healed, I've done my work.
That's why I was thinking. Exactly.
It's more so like when those moments show up, how do I act in accordance to like my values and what is for me now? Yeah. And not living within that belief of I'm too much. So like even you being able to slow yourself down and acknowledge like I'm triggered in this moment.
Girl, I called Stephanie. I said, we get into argument. He just leave the house. And Stephanie was like, well, Jay, did you ever thought like,
she is bringing it back.
Well, and I'm like,
that's my book. Because it's like, if I get overwhelmed, my system is like fire. Like, so I'm not trying to unintentionally take that out on someone. So I always learn to like separate. Maybe that's the point in attachment, but it's like, let me take some time on my own to ground myself, regulate myself, figure out what it is that I want to say without the spice and the vim that I'm feeling.
Yeah, because he always brings it back and we talk about it. Yeah. So that's the part where it doesn't feel like a punishment, but past relationship used to feel like a punishment. Yeah. So to me, I would stay in one thing an anxious attachment do is that if you don't bring him back to talk about it, we start acting up. I will start ignoring. I will start giving you passive aggressive foolishness. And it wasn't, and had to learn like, oh, so you actually do come back in the house. Yeah. And then you're like, okay, we need to talk. Oh, so forth and so on. So then that's the affirming part. So then my deactivation, I went back to like in my safe zone.
It happens quicker now.
Right. But can I ask you, and this would probably be for those who are avoidantly attached or securely attached, or pretty much anybody who dates somebody who's anxiously attached. Why, if you want connection, why do you then withdraw, act up, throw a fit, do all of those things?
Definitely. My personal experience, because I would say that I thought of the example of like maybe me sometimes like not saying something for fear of causing a disruption in the relationship, right? And so sometimes that is just a fear of like, if I bring this up, will that end the relationship? And again, bringing it back to just this desire around like a need being met. It's not even always like the confession said, it's not even really always about the person. Yeah. It's more so about like, I need to settle this feeling of rejection or this feeling of like not being enough. So that will show up in your relationships in that way. Like, I'm not going to say anything or I'm going to like only show up in this way so that I can be accepted or be approved of, or I'm going to like overplay my role in people's life. I used to think like when relationships ended, I would say most of our relationships has ended because I wanted them to end, but they were often like way past their expiration date.
Yeah.
And I will always have this energy of like, you'll never forget me. Like, I know that you'll miss my energy. I had to come to realize this because I was overplaying my role. Not necessarily because like, I'm just like this. I mean, I do feel like I'm an awesome, great person. But it was more so like I was overplaying. Yeah. And not necessarily showing up as my genuine self.
I think, okay. You go. But I think this is part of where my disorganized happened because I always have an exit strategy.
Oh yeah. But that's an anxious attachment as well.
No, but part of that for me is that even when we disagree, we don't agree, I do the extreme isolation. Let's get through it. Like I would shut down and not even acknowledge what goes on. Like I will just move on to the next. And I don't have no feelings about it. I just get very cold. And I think that would confuse my partners
shutting it
in the
off,
past
like-
because they're like
Went from one
to another. So there was not even like a balance of like, oh, we need, I want to talk. No, I'm like, okay, well, we're done. This is done. Like
that's like your
just-
shutdown. Like
yeah,
once you've
just like
decided, I'm overwhelmed.
yeah.
Now that's also a coping.
Yeah, because it happened so quickly for me, and that anxious. So the original, I think, the set off is the anxious part, but then it gets really confusing and quickly where I'm just like,
that's your coping.
okay, so
let me ask you.
but I think that's part of the abandonment I think that I experienced as a child, where people were leaving. Because remember, I told you guys like, people, I was left. I was always somebody leaving, so I'm always prepared to leave.
Right.
I'm always prepared. I taught myself that leaving is safety for me. So staying is not safety for me. Yeah.
So you leaving is safety. And I guess my follow-up question to that is there a part of you that is hoping that your partner chases you?
Absolutely.
Not me.
Not you?
Not me.
I think that's a part of the
Yeah.
anxious
That's
attachment.
Not
what I was
me.
going to say. That's
Because-
why you're disorganized and that's why yours is anxious.
Yeah.
Because most times
Yeah,
when
because I'll go to the next one.
when anxious
And
no,
move.
literally
I was.
anxiously attached people
Yeah.
do the thing of like I'm leaving or like I'm not calling you or
Yeah.
you text me and I'm
They're
gonna
waiting,
wait,
yeah.
I'm gonna wait several hours.
Yeah, I don't wait on no phone. I'm
They
going.
want you to chase them.
Yeah.
That's what the difference is because they're protesting. That's why I asked you.
Yeah.
Because people don't realize for
Yeah.
the person who is on the receiving end of this,
Yeah.
they're wanting you to respond.
They do.
react.
Yeah. And that's why they're not talking.
They don't mind
Yeah.
if you cussing them out.
Yeah.
They don't care if
Just want a
you're what's it
reaction.
called. Yeah, like, I just want you to give me attention.
Yeah. And then what they will do
Kind
is.
of attention.
Yeah.
Is attention.
Is attention. Yeah, so they'll start doing stuff to make you jealous. I don't do any of that. I literally, because people start posting pictures. They start showing these
Yes,
things.
people will- no, that's-
They do. That's the extreme side. I start. Yes.
Or remember people used to do subliminals, like
Yes.
they would mess it or subtweet or
Subtweet something. Yeah. No.
Now.
Yeah. No. For me, I disconnect and I literally move to a different body and pretend like you never exist, like you dead.
Yeah, that's the avoidant part. But,
But I
it's an
think back
anxious.
to your question about if you want connection, then why would you then withdraw?
Yeah.
And it's like, because then I'm feeling some kind of way about myself, right? Because you know you're anxiously attached. You know that you're being annoying or too much or need constant reassurance. And so it's just like, oh my God, I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
Let me just like pull back.
Yeah.
So then you
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
It's like, let me pull all the way
Really
back.
bad. Yep.
Then just like,
Yeah.
because I'm being too much. Let me just kind of, okay, let me get myself together. Like, they're just in a bad mood. It's not about
Me.
doing
Yeah.
all
You
this,
this self-talk, yeah,
self-talk.
grounding you.
But then on the other side of it, like you were saying, yes, call me.
That's it, right? And that's like the vicious cycle, right?
Stop me.
That's the vicious cycle because once that person does call you,
You're
then it's like confirmation. All right, we're good. I'm back at it. Right?
Yeah.
I agree. Like they affirm
Me. Yeah.
I am good enough. I am worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are your thoughts about like how people can support their partner with anxious attachment or people, if you are the anxious attacher, how can you support yourself?
I'm going to say this, okay? Anxious attachers tend to be with avoidant attachers. And that's the problem. And it could work, but it's going to be a challenge for it to work. I have not, it's ongoing therapy for it to work. Right. So I think an anxious attacher need a secure, but go ahead, need a secure
An
attach.
anxious attachment needs a secure attachment.
Yes. Go ahead, break it down.
Okay,
sis.
so not to get all clinical and therapist-y, right?
Well, you can.
But there's a reason why anxious attachers link on to avoidant, right? Because if we're going to go back and talk about how it's from childhood, that is the dynamic, right? That's how we were doing it.
Yep.
That's how we're comfortable. And so back to your point about if we were used to performing, if we were trying to get somebody to notice us, maybe our parents were working a lot. Maybe they had to be away. A lot of us are first year generation, right? So sometimes our parents were in different countries. So it's like, I am just craving this
grasping for straws,
grasping, right? And so technically the caregiver was avoidant for whatever reason. Maybe they were emotionally avoidant because they had their own stuff going on. Maybe they had depression or something, and so they couldn't be there for us. Yeah. Maybe physically they were just not present. Whether it's I'm someplace else physically, I'm at work, I travel for work, whatever the case may be, right? And so I think it's like, we're so used to that dynamic, and even though it's unhealthy,
right? It feels safe, comfortable.
Yeah, because you know it's the newness of it all.
That's why we seek it as adults, which is crazy if you think about it that way. Because why would I do that? Why would I find someone who reminds me of my caregiver who wasn't necessarily there for me?
Which explains the power of a caregiver.
Absolutely.
Which is why you should be careful about caregiving.
But I don't even think that it's like a subconscious thing.
Oh, for sure.
It's very much not I'm
conscious. Yeah, for sure.
Do that to you.
It's purposeful.
Yeah. So that's why. And if an anxious attacher see a secure attacher in front of them, and I've seen it because I be trying to hook people up, it's hard for them to receive it. They'll find something wrong with that person. They will say they're boring, they're obsessed, it's not this, and not realizing the boring and the spicy that you're talking about is the chaos that you used to operating on. It's the rejection that you actually fear that you're actually running into. Yeah. So if you are an anxious attacher, I think is noticing when you are activated, but also noticing that you are enough, reminding and affirming yourself you are enough, that there is more friends out there you could be friends with. There is more partners out there for you to be in relationships with. Because one thing an anxious attacher tells them is like, I have to stay in here because am I going to find better? I can't find better. I'm not better. They're my only. And reminding yourself, actually, no, it's not. And actually go for the boring, because the boring will actually dote over you. The boring would actually, and that's why secure attachers, they even says it too, they're not single long. When they know what they want, they go for it, and they're pretty much done. You know, they'll affirm that. Another thing I would say if somebody's in a secure attacher is also noticing when you are performing over time. When you know you are, okay, I'm just doing this even because he likes it or she likes it or they like it, then I'll just do it. But knowing like, I really don't want to. Anytime you're having that dialogue with yourself.
It's some shit being on the receiving end of that. I will say like, cause sometimes like I've been in situations where I wasn't even fucking aware the person was performing. Yeah. And now you're upset with me because you weren't being yourself.
And that honestly, it's also very scary to be on the receiving end of that when you are realizing your partner was shape shifting.
Yeah. It's like, who are you?
Yeah. It's just like, cause I'm operating very authentically and genuinely and in the moment. So I'm thinking we're vibing. Things are cool. And then you pull this thing over underneath me of like, well, it's too much. And I felt like I wasn't myself. And it's like,
why who's that?
Yeah, who's that? They'll turn into well, you
like and you required
like, I was supposed to tell you to be yourself.
Yeah.
You required it instead of it being more so the person trying to soothe their own stuff. And I think that it does take like a level of awareness and like active work. A lot of people will be walking around here just like aimlessly going through life and relationships in like a la fantasy land. Like we're supposed to get together. We're supposed to have kids. We're supposed to like do this routine with no understanding of each other's background, history, how this person's attachment style may be.
Value system.
The clients that I see when they're dissatisfied with their partners, it's like the attachment styles are having a sword fight.
Yes, exactly. You know, it's so funny because exactly. And another thing is consistency. If you are dating someone with an attachment style, honestly, if you literally tell them, hey, I'm going here, we're good, this is fine. If you just do that reassurance and you consistently show them that they're enough, they matter, they won't be activated. You know? But wait. No, but I'm telling you. No, but listen to me though. No, but here is what I'm saying to you. If you, in the beginning, if it start off strong and you secure them and a shift is happening and you communicate, and correctly, if you communicate that shift and you continue to still do the assurance based on whatever that person is, it's the consistency of them that will maintain them. That's just how it is.
So they need to be reassuring through their behavior or reassuring through verbals.
Both.
Well, I also think
but that's what.
But I think that sometimes like for a person that is maybe more anxiously attached, or even someone that might be more secure, anxiously attached, that might push the person further away. Like, now I have to do these extra things.
Sure. But
to reassure.
But here's what I'm saying to you. If we, and I just so I'm wrong, just so if
can't give in.
Here's how I'm answering. Let me be clear. Here's how I'm answering the question. I'm answering the question based on now that we've had a conversation about my anxious attachment style. We know how I operate. I know about your avoidant or secure attachment style. Because what I work with people is that how do we come in the middle? What are some things to put in place? So when you meet a partner, you know this is how you are. Be upfront about how you are and, you know, the different things and ways that you like, and don't waver that. So that's how I'm answering that question. Yeah. So then I'm not saying it in terms of we just met and nothing changed and we didn't have a conversation. I'm expecting this. I'm saying now that if rupture has happened, or if activation has happened, and you had a conversation and you're like, okay, I went to therapy, or here is what I read about myself, or here's what I know about myself, and you have a conversation, you put these things in play.
Okay, so you're saying
for that. That's how I'm answering the question.
Reassures after they have come and said,
yes, that's how I'm answering exactly
in that way. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Because what I was saying false to is reassuring your partner that is anxiously attached that you're not going to leave them. Does not always, what's it called? At least for my clients, it does not confirm that they feel like, oh, you're
they find something else.
They find something else, right?
To feel some way about.
Yeah, this is what we're all saying. First of all, like you use the word awareness, and I was waiting for that to come up in this conversation because there is such a deficit of people who are not self-aware.
Yes.
Like you need to know who you
are.
Get into any kind of partnership.
Agreed.
Yeah. And not in a fake
because even in business, an anxious attachment can fuck up a business.
So it's just like, okay, so what you're saying is awareness, right? Because you need to know yourself enough to be able to know what you need.
Exactly.
And to know what to ask for. Right?
Yeah.
And Stephanie is like, I'm not going to be the person who's going to constantly reassure you, and you're not doing your own work. Right? So, but in order for us to do the work, I have to then communicate.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right? And also build tolerance around not getting the reassurance. Because that's also another thing that I was thinking is that, like, once your partner, especially after the conversation Jay's talking about is had, and you're feeling, you know that this is activating you. Oh, there's separation and there's this. This is where you do your own work.
Right. Yeah.
Historically speaking, does your partner always come back? Does your, and mind you, if it doesn't, okay, that's different. But I'm referring to like the partnership that you're in after you had the conversation right now. Or I'll say something about that later. But if they have said that they're going to be here and you feel yourself getting activated, this is where you acknowledge, oh, I'm feeling this way because they left and my mind is contorting these scenarios and playing this up. But this is the facts. The facts are he usually or she usually needs a bit of space in order for her to regulate herself. And she's already told me she's doing that for the service of the relationship. Not because she wants to punish me, not because she hates me, but because he or she needs that in order to come at me with empathy, love, and compassion, which is what I need. So I'm going to give them the space, trust. That's usually what's lacking. Trust them based on the prior data that you've already kind of gotten and the commitments you've gotten from the relationship. That's what I feel like would be helpful, because yes, for somebody who's anxiously attached, a stable, consistent, attuned, right? Partner is what's going to help them lean more toward that secure space. Now, the avoidant and anxious attached dynamic, unfortunately, is going to happen more times than not because of
it happens often.
Secure people usually end up in a relationship and stay.
And that's why this dating pool is ghetto out here.
A lot of avoidantly attached people tend to go out of relationships.
The fish left.
Are avoidantly attached.
They
don't have any
they'll go from that
challenges with dropping a relationship. And anxiously attached people tend to kind of have that. So it is an awareness that is needed from both parties about their attachment style, and then an agreement about how to work with each other when each other are activated.
I just want to summarize what you said. I think what you said was really good. about just separating the facts from the feelings.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you're in that activated mode, like you were talking, Jay, about, you know, your relationship, and like sometimes he would leave to cool off. And it's like in that moment when he has left, you're left with all of your stuff, feelings. Right? And so it's what Stephanie was saying, separating like facts from feelings. Like my feelings is this, but the facts are he's going to come back. He loves me. We have good conversation. We can communicate.
Literally.
You know, but it's also that self-soothe, right? And then it's finding like the evidence to the contrary, right? Because our anxiety wants to tell us that he doesn't love me. All of them leave me. I'm too much. I'm doing too much. Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And it's like, we can always find evidence of that.
Right?
Yeah. As an anxious person, that comes naturally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? But it's like really sitting with yourself, calming yourself down, taking a beat, and being like, what is the evidence that shows that I'm in a good situation, I'm in a good relationship, I am secure, this person is with me. And that's really what it is, that kind of slowing down and not being reactive.
The awareness being key.
Right? Like you have to know who you are. That like I'm having an anxious moment. So let me chill for a second.
And you have to be clear, skills, though. That's the part. Like you said, the self-soothing part is like when you're left by yourself alone, that feels so painful and raw. Like so of course you're gonna do these things to seek the comfort of somebody else, but learning how to self-comfort is so important for somebody who's anxiously attached.
Agree.
It's not always your partner's responsibility.
That's what I was gonna say too. Like what to Jay's point as well, like that the responsibility that you need to take, right? Like your self-soothe is your own. Like immediately when you said that, I thought like we need to starve the beast. Like I'm not going to feed into this idea that like you need my reassurance, my constant reassurance, because that also feeds this idea of like you need that from me externally. Versus like us agreeing on like how you're going to take care of yourself when you feel that way, or how we can communicate. Like I'm going to agree to show up in a way that is consistent and secure, and I would need my partner to also agree to like taking care of themselves, not putting that responsibility onto me to soothe.
Also switching up like in friendships too. So how do you manage a friend if you anxiously attach? I always say like ask your friends for what you need.
Need to be curious.
Be, you know, and be honest with your friends about what you're experiencing and stop assuming that everything is about you or that you are the problem unless they tell you they're the problem. So that's how you slowly are aware of when you are the awareness of being activated and trust that exactly. And if they don't,
that's their problem.
Observe your mind having those thoughts. Observe your mind having those thoughts to what Myrja was saying. And then releasing those thoughts of that not being facts. Because your mind will offer.
I'm worthy of secure attachment.
That's it.
Like I'm worthy of taking care of myself and not putting that responsibility on
somebody else. Exactly.
Because you're capable. Not only is it worthy, you have the capacity and you're capable. That's where the confidence. But you don't build confidence in isolation. You do, it's like you have to actively do and engage and implement in order for those things to happen.
I agree. So I'm hearing that maybe security looks more like a healthy detachment from things, right? Allowing stuff to come and go, really enjoying the moments that are present that we have, and then when it is there is an end to it, like there's an end. Like,
there's an end to it. Yeah, one kiss, one hug does not mean it's a lifetime. It don't mean forever, Chad. Don't mean forever.
A rich conversation.
It was.
So where can the people find you, Miss Paul?
They can find me on Instagram at Soul Counseling, Soul spelled SOL, like the sun. They can find us on our website, soulcounselingandconsulting.com.
Which revamped it, by the way, when I went yesterday.
Oh, yes, girl.
And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I do like it. It is super nice.
Yes.
And also, can you tell a couple of workshops and things that are out there?
So we have a couples workshop that we do fall and spring. We have coaching as well for our younger folks who may be struggling with
reach
ADHD.
out.
We have some executive functioning groups for our adults. We call it Adulting 101.
You have stuff for clinicians too?
Yes, we do CEUs. So we do clinical trainings. We're approved by the Maryland board to provide Category A CEUs.
I think you have 2 coming up.
We have 2 coming up. One is on August 15th, which is a Friday. It's a lunchtime. It's an hour and a half CEU on decolonizing the therapeutic space. And then we have a DBT for suicidality that's coming up August 25th, I believe.
Yep.
All that information is on our website as well, and also on our Instagram.
We appreciate you. We're gonna want you back. You know, would you come back to the couch with us? You gonna come back? You gonna come back?
Yeah, when I put out my book.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
look, me look.
And you can find us at couchchroniclestad@gmail.com if you want to write in, send us letters, or have questions that we can read on the show.
And on Instagram too.
Follow us on Instagram. Check us out on YouTube. All of that.
All right. Bye, fam.